Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And as you can tell by the tired, puffy, tired face right here and my voice, I still have sleep voice. I've had two cups of coffee.
You do have sleep voice. I've had my coffee. I've even got a workout in. I still feel sleepy.
Regardless, it's time for our super hot, super fresh star ratings. And oh boy, what a controversial show we're talking about today. AEW WrestleDream left everybody stunned and shocked. And the discourse online has been something to behold. So we're going to settle it all by giving you guys our star ratings.
We are, but, you know, the match that caused the most controversy, discourse, main event, we'll save that for last.
Oh, of course, absolutely. And by the way, if you want our full podcast-length thoughts on it, we got a podcast. It's called Going In Raw. You can go check out the link. I'll put it in the description or something.
There we go. So let's start with the first match of the main card. That was Switchblade, Jay White, taking on Hangman, Adam Page. Steve, what'd you give this one?
Oh, man, the Knife Pervert. I love the Knife Pervert. I gave this match 4.25 stars because here's the thing. This match was going to get 4 stars from me, Larson. I thought about it, and I was like, I got to give an extra 1/4 star for the viscous, gooey, slimy lung juice that the Knife Pervert ejected at Hangman Adam Page, and it stuck to him. It's probably still there.
It could be. It's all mad in his tummy hair.
I loved this match, dude. I love Jay White figuring out how to counter the buckshot by just going next to him.
Yeah, that was great.
and then converting his weak buckshot attempt into a Sister App Blade Runner. I thought was really great too. So yeah, man, I love both these guys. 4.25 stars.
Yeah, two of my favorites in AEW. I gave it 4.25 as well. You mentioned Jay White having a strategy when given time and opportunity. I said this in the recap. Jay White is one of the best in-ring tacticians there is because you can see the process as the match goes on.
Yeah,
you can see it. It's like Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. is one of the best tacticians in the ring too, because you can literally see the thought process as he's like twisting people into pretzels, especially if you're there live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throughout this match, you can see Jay White setting things up down the line, and it was wildly enjoyable. The match had some good twists and turns. You had some thick oatmeal type saliva stuck to.
Stop calling it oatmeal. It's so disgusting. I don't know why that takes it an extra level.
I don't know why either. Hangman's tummy. The finish was great. Really fun opener to WrestleDream 4.25.
Oh, same as me. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Very cool.
Next
bitch.
AEW Women's Championship match. Willow Nightingale challenging Mariah May. Mariah retains. Given how short the build of this match was and how there wasn't a lot there story-wise, the match delivered. Like, the in-ring aspect of it was off the charts really, really good. I really enjoyed the back and forth. Both of them, fantastic in-ring workers. I gave it 4 stars. You know, I wish there was a story here that matched the quality of the in-ring work, because then I think it would have elevated even more. But the match itself was awesome. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I agree. And like Bones and Spock in Star Trek 3, Katras are aligned, Larson. 4 stars as well. Everything you say, copy and paste. I agree.
Next, let's talk about the TNT Championship match. Katsuyori Shibata challenging Jack Perry. Scapegoat gets the win. Steve, what say you about this match?
I thought the bulk of this match was fine, because Shibata is just an outstanding wrestler and Perry can hold his own. Not a lot of drama or tension in terms of like, who's going to win this match. And I thought the finish, given that Shibata is one of the most, I mean, the dude trains New Japan Pro Wrestling young lions.
His nickname is The Wrestler.
Nobody else really has been granted that nickname because his credentials are superior in terms of being the wrestler.
You can't question his bona fides.
How did he get caught at the end and then argue with the ref? Come on, man. What are you doing? I gave this 3.5 stars. I thought if there was some sort, because that finish was like, the hell was that?
I think you're too generous, man.
Oh, wow. Oh, I thought you went higher. Okay. No. What'd you give it?
3.25.
Oh.
Yeah, the finish was lame.
That's a 1/4 difference.
Sometimes 1/4 star makes all the difference, Steve. Yeah, the finish was lame.
So. Yeah, the finish is horrible. Huh?
Katsuyori Shibata is known as being the wrestler.
Is the wrestler, not just that wrestler or a wrestler.
No, the wrestler, and he gets caught with that crap finish. No, that's lame. Yeah. 3 1/4.
All right, fair enough. What's next?
International Championship match. You got Will Osprey losing that International Championship to Takeshita. Ricochet also in the 3-way contest. I mean, this was spectacular stuff. And I waffled between 2 scores. But you know me, I have an upper limit to my star rating scale. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't quite go 5 stars with this one.
Wow. What? You went to 4 3/4?
Yeah, I did 4 3/4 on this one.
Wow.
Even though there's nothing to quibble about, the execution is about as good as it gets. He had the story beat with Kyle Fletcher stabbing Osprey in the back of the head with the screwdriver. Mm-hmm. I'll probably end up kicking myself for not giving it 5 stars down the line, but 4 3/4 isn't a bad score.
Wow. Okay, look at you, all on board. I like it. I like to hear it, man. That's good. I gave it 4 1/4. I thought dude, I'll be honest with you. Like, if this was, here's the thing, and I'm not even, boy, I'm gonna get in trouble here. If this was Osprey and Takeshita, like that's the match every time, dude. No, don't look like that. Every time those two were in the ring, this was a 5-star match. And I thought Ricochet did fine.
You're taking this gimmick too far, Steve.
No, it's not. No, it's not a gimmick. I just feel like I've seen I think Ricochet did some really interesting stuff. Don't get me wrong. But this to me was not, I don't think he enhanced a match which should have been Osprey versus Takeshita. I thought he was there and he could hang. But I think, number one, I think Takeshi's the best wrestler out of the 3 of them, to be honest with you. I think that dude is absolutely phenomenal. I think he's Okada levels. I really do. And Osprey is great. And Ricochet is really, really good. So I gave it 4 1/4, which is, I really enjoyed this match. There were stretches that usually involved Ricochet that I was like, I've seen that thing before.
Wow.
I don't really need to see the whole superhero thing. So yeah, I gave it 4 1/4. It's a really good. I gave the same rating to the other match that I thought was really, really good. The 2 dudes with the gooey stuff, Hangman and Jay White.
Man, you're really underselling this match. It was really good.
No, really I'm so glad that you loved it that much. I really am. You're about to give it an upper limit 5-star match.
Yeah, because it was approaching a 5-star match. It was that much fun.
I love that, and I love that. I really do. And I'm not being condescending. I genuinely appreciate that.
You got it. This Ricochet gimmick yours is going too
far.
Oh,
come on. I love Ricochet. I think he's great,
I don't think
man.
you do. Your star rating does not reflect that.
Okay, all right.
Numbers don't
lie.
lie.
Maybe
Steve.
I just need to see Ricochet in a match with Hologram. That's what I need.
All right. Speaking of Hologram, he took on Beast Mortos at a 2 out of 3 falls match. Steve, give this your 5-star rating. Go ahead.
Oh, man, I have a nebulous upper limit. I think the highest I've given is like, I don't know.
I think he gave Swerve and Hangman Steel Cage match 6 stars.
Yeah, I think I maxed out at 6. I'm not going to go that high with this. I am going to go 4.5 though. I didn't give this as high a star rating as you gave that last match. I gave it 4. I think that makes this match of the card. It does. Because, man, this shit's so much fun. They're so creative and doing all sorts of great. I was kind of bummed out. This might have gotten 5 stars, but I honestly think that Hologram tweaked his ankle or something because the last fall was a little on the... It was different than the other ones. It was different before he did the big thing to the outside and it looked like he might have tweaked his shit.
Yeah.
But regardless, I give it 4.5 stars. These guys are great. Beast Mortos, I'm all in. Hologram, I'm all in, man. And I am so tickled by the fact that a wrestling promoter took probably doodles that he had when he was a little kid with a wrestler named Hologram, and this billionaire took Aramis, made him into Hologram, and he's on an undefeated streak. It's awesome, and he's putting on spectacular matches. It's great. I love it. 4.5 stars.
Yeah, I gave it 4.5 as well. And you're right. After the moonsault to the outside from Hologram, seemed like something might have happened because the pace slowed down a little bit. It felt like a different match after that spot. Everything up until that was awesome. And sometimes these things happen. Wrestling is a physical sport, obviously. People get banged up, and we don't know if that's the case. if something did happen. Hopefully nothing serious, because Hologram, like Beast Mortos, tons of fun to watch. The first fall, I still can't wrap my head around how Hologram pulled off the finish to that first fall. Really great stuff. We're in agreement, 4.5 stars.
4.5 stars. There you go.
Let's talk this one. Brody King, after beating up Darby Allin for about 10 minutes, takes the L to him.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said in the recap that you're growing a bit weary of the Darby Allin match formula. And for me, it's all about how creatively implemented that formula is. Now, sometimes it's just, all right, suplex, German suplex, throw him out of the ring, whatever. I felt like this was not quite to the same extent as that great Samoa Joe Darby Allin match. I think it was a Dynamite at main event at one time. That was just wildly entertaining because Samoa Joe was just throwing Darby all over the place. I don't think it quite reached that level of fun, but I thought there's enough creative stuff here that I found it rather enjoyable. Yeah, Darby ultimately just does the same thing to get the win, but the process to getting there I thought was fun enough. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it.
All right. I didn't go that high, man. I love both these guys. I really do. I gave it 3.5 stars because the formula was there, and I don't know. I don't feel the same way. I feel like it wasn't. I just feel like Darby needs to mix it up a little bit, man. It's just when you know what's going to happen going into a match and then it plays out, there are some ooh and ah spots. And I did like that, Brody beating the 10 count at basically 11.
Yeah.
And then Darby.
Great drama. What are you talking about? Come on.
Darby immediately hitting the coffin drop. I thought it was good, but yeah, it just didn't do much more for me because when you know what the match is going to be going into it, you got to get really creative with things for me to be like, And the problem with Darby is that really creative also makes me go, oh God, what are you going to do here? Yeah, it means
him doing stuff that's he's probably going to feel not just the day of the day after, but 10 years after.
Dude, I just feel like he used to mix it up a little bit more. Like if I got to go back, I'll have to go back. Come on. Like I feel like there used to be a bit more drama to his matches, and maybe that's because he has adhered to the same formula. If you go back and watch him versus Rusev back for the TNT title, I just feel like, and I'll have to go back and watch to verify this, I feel like there was a bit more with like Darby. It's not just he goes in there and starts getting thrown around. It's like, oh, Darby's trying to outmaneuver the guy, and he's trying to do this.
So this match was lighter on the hope spots for Darby. I'll agree with that. But his formula from day one at AEW, he gets in there, gets his ass kicked, mounts a bit of a comeback, gets his ass kicked. It's just that a couple times, and then he pulls out the win. That's
I just think in this situation it was so cut and dry. But
it was very one-sided for most of the match.
Yeah,
but I thought it was entertainingly one-sided, just like the Samoa Joe match. Let's talk the tag team title bout. Young Bucks successfully defended the titles against Private Party. Steve, what'd you give this one?
Oh boy, again, this one didn't really hew much from a normal Young Bucks match. And I feel like Private Party should have won. I gave it 3.5 stars. There you go.
Yeah, I gave it 3.5 as well. Yeah. Like, I felt like they were really ambitious in terms of how this match was put together, and for the most part, they delivered on that ambition. Like the spots were delivered well. Mm-hmm. The match was constructed fine. They set things up where the Young Bucks cut the super heel promo on Private Party saying you're a mid-card act and you'll always be a mid-card act. And then Private Party still loses. And I don't know, it just felt like, Private Party probably should have won this match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that sort of distracted from the match.
Yes.
It kind of makes all the difference, to be honest with you.
It's all about expectations. They set expectations.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about expectations more in a little bit, but first, let's talk about Chris Jericho versus Mark Briscoe. Mm-hmm. For the Ring of Honor title, look, I like Mark Briscoe a lot. Yeah, I think he's doing great work. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably be accused of bias. I don't want Chris Jericho on my TV. I'm tired of his whole thing.
Yeah.
And because of that, I don't get invested in storylines or matches because I just don't care to see him. Mm-hmm. He needs to go away for a bit.
Yeah.
Freshen up his presentation, freshen up his character, and then come back, and maybe my perspective will be different.
Yeah.
But rather than doing what he used to do best, leave, he's like dug in to not leave, to prove a point or something. I think it leans into the resentment of portion of the audience to get heat. And it's like this cycle that feeds into itself it amplifies the go-away heat I have with Chris Jericho. Mm-hmm. This match was fine. It was better than most other Chris Jericho matches of recent memory, which
that is
have been
true.
Dog shit.
Yeah.
So I gave this 2 3/4 stars. It was fine. Again, I like Mark Briscoe a lot.
Yeah.
I just don't. He doesn't gain much by beating Chris Jericho. This match was fine, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't stray too far. I gave it 3 stars. I mean, a lot of what you said holds true for me as well. I did think that this was significantly better than what we got from Jericho and Hook during their feud. And, I thought there were some storytelling beats within the match that I thought were pretty solid. It is hard to get over, like, just Jericho being Jericho, though. So, yeah, I gave it 3 stars.
All right, main event time.
Oh, this is this to me is tougher than the main event for the last one, for the Hangman Swerve match. This is a tough one.
This is. So it was Jon Moxley defeating Bryan Danielson for the AEW Championship, and thus retiring, at least on a full-time basis, Bryan Danielson from in-ring competition. Steve, what'd you give it?
Oh man, I gotta go first here. Boy,
I can go first if you want me to.
No, it's all good. I'm waffling here between a couple scores, but I think I nailed it down. I am still kind of, so to speak, wrestling with my thoughts on this match and the story beat. And, last night we talked about it at length in the podcast. You and I were pretty down on it, as where I think there are a lot of people. And then a lot of people, the discourse online is the people who love AEW are basically defending this to a level that you've never seen before. The people who already don't like AEW are, piling on this thing.
Well, here's the thing, too, is that if I saw a couple tweets today that was essentially, if you don't like the finish of this, you're stupid and you don't like real wrestling.
Right.
And you probably don't watch AEW to begin with.
Yeah. There are plenty of I think honest assessments or honest genuine thoughts about this in the positive realm as well. People that I know and respect.
Yeah.
Who were like, hey, you know what? They appreciate that Danielson went out on a very Danielson way, trying to be selfless and not selfish, not being celebratory, setting up a really big story beat. I just feel, what I thought in my head? This is, again, a really cheesy movie metaphor, but I was relating it to Infinity War last night, right?
Yeah.
The last shot of Infinity War is Thanos having accomplished what he wanted to do. And I feel like that punctuating mark was absent from the finish last night in terms of like Mox got the title, he put it in a bag and they went off. And I feel like it needed more of whatever Mox is selling for us to have felt the way we did at the end. Like, oh, all is lost. He won. But this is the punctuating moment. And instead we got just everybody dithering away, which was Orange Cassidy, Hook, Darby Allin, all the young, Orange Cassidy's not young, but all the, the AEW, True Bloods, right? That are like devastated now that their guy, Danielson, is done with. Who's going to save them, right? So they got to look inward. I get it. I understand it.
Same.
I just feel like the expectation was we would have some inkling of what Mox's game plan was. We knew what Thanos's was, and he accomplished it. And I feel like that aspect was missing. But I can really appreciate that they gave us a heavy ass moment. I can appreciate that. I thought the heavy ass moment was well executed. I also think the bag, they shouldn't have done it last time.
I thought that too.
That's the thing. And I think that's what gets me about the bag. And I understand it's a little bit different now because they got Wheeler to do it. But they shouldn't have done the bag the last time. They should have kept it this time because that would have been like, oh, wow.
If last time is a situation where they were attacking Danielson and Mox gets the plastic bag out, and that's when someone makes the save or whatever. Security comes out. So they tease it. Oh, man, he was about to put that over his head. And then we see it this time. No, I agree.
Yeah. It's still kind of, that being said, and on top of that, like I'm not the biggest Mox match fan. I think Mox still can deliver really good promos when he's got something very pointed to say. Too often he goes, a lot of criticism that Bray Wyatt used to get, where like if he doesn't have new info, that dude knows how to spin in circles, or spin his wheels rather. So all that to say, I did give it a good score. I gave it 4.5 stars.
Wow.
Because these guys really did put everything into this match. It ended in a way that it really caused a lot of conversation. I think it's kind of ballsy to completely devastate your audience. I'm not opposed to that shit.
No, I'm not either.
I'm not opposed to devastating your audience. And it felt like a big moment. Now, whether or not they'll be able to capitalize on it, if the next episode of Dynamite, Mox shows up and he hands the bag with the title to Sami Callihan, I'll be like, this was for nothing, And I love Sami Callihan, thumbs up, thumbs down. But I do feel like it's like impossible expectations to live up to now.
Yeah.
And maybe they will. I don't know. But I gave it 4.5 stars because I did think that if, like, in retrospect, especially after thinking about it so much, and I'm like, the fact that I'm thinking about it so much means that it's a big deal. So I gave it 4.5 stars.
I didn't quite go nearly that high. So
You went 2.25.
No, I didn't go that low. So yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot all this morning, and it's one of those things that in a bubble, without the context of the story they've been alluding to with Mox. Like if Mox had come out when he turned on Danielson and said, "This is our champion, this guy whose neck is taped together. You're hanging on by a thread here, Danielson. And this is not what AEW is supposed to represent." Like, there has yet to be a clear, concise mission statement from Mox about what his aims are and why he's doing what he's doing. It's this is out of my hands. No one else could do this but me. Mm-hmm. All right, that makes it feel like that he's not the one in control. Then who is?
Right, yeah.
And if I felt like if this moment was supposed to be devastating to us as a viewer, then there should have been a story beat to coincide to give us that answer. Mm-hmm. Because then, then I feel like not only do you get the devastation because Danielson's retired, he gets the shit beaten out of him. He gets suffocated. He gets the chair stomped on his neck. Plus, now the odds are stacked against, for whatever reason. Someone is behind all this. The Blackpool Combat Club has expanded their numbers. Whatever. The odds are against Darby, Orange Cassidy, Daniel Garcia. And I don't get that sense that there's a sea change in AEW just because we got to heel Mox as kind of meat.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I don't think... Because I saw some people trying to compare this moment to the NWO, the birth of the NWO.
Wow, yeah. Okay.
In that, we have a heel faction that's trying to exert its influence to take over a wrestling company.
We've called it the Shane World Order.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that's, yeah.
And then Darby would be the Sting in this situation. And, okay, there's parallels there. What's missing is when the NWO was formed, there was a massive story beat. Hogan turned heel. You understood by that moment alone, this is a sea change.
Right,
this is something dramatically different that's going to shift the tide of everything.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And with Mox out there spouting all sorts of nebulous nonsense about how things are going to have to be different, he's the only one that could do this. Mm-hmm. As much as Hogan can meander on the mic, his promo after the formation of the NWO was very clear about what the goals and aims of this new faction were.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And we have not gotten that from Mox. Mm-hmm. And I feel like even if it was just a clear message, clear mission statement from Mox about what their aims are, a lot of the criticisms that I have about the end of this match would have been alleviated.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with
because expectations were set because things were so vague.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Excalibur literally said, "Who is giving the orders here?" or something like that to Mox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes you think there is something grander about to happen here. And then when we have, in some respects, a repeat of what happened at All Out, it just felt like, all right, I understand they're trying to go for something that's impactful and devastating. You really feel like all the odds are stacked against AEW now. Mm-hmm. I didn't get that feeling, though, because it just felt like, A, a little bit more of the same, B, no disrespect to Mox, but him just coming out and spouting the same word vomit week after week doesn't make me feel like there's a sea change going on here.
Now he's talking about going to war and all. And on top of that, like the Danielson side of this feud has been kind of, I don't know. I mean, I know he showed up and he attacked Mox and everything, but you know, in the meantime, I don't know. It just, it feels a bit one-sided in terms of the two sides of the story.
Exactly. You're getting Mox's in the Blackpool Combat Club side, but again, it's not really clear.
Yeah,
it's not clear.
Yeah. And that's a bit. So wait, what star rating did you give it?
I gave it 3 3/4. It was, as you said in the recap last night, it was a Mox match, not a Danielson match. Mox is a perfectly fine wrestler. Not a personal favorite of mine from an in-ring perspective, unless he's like, when he's doing like the hardcore stuff, lights out matches, because he's wildly creative with that stuff, and I really enjoy those.
Yeah, and he seems to enjoy that stuff.
And but you know, like a straightforward wrestling match, again, like I respect him, but he's not upper echelon in my estimation in terms of an in-ring worker. That's just my feelings. Others who disagree, totally cool. And again, it's a matter of expectations, and if they hadn't set the expectations so high for a story be at the end beyond just Danielson getting, stretchered out, then I felt like they would have hit the mark. A lot of people, I think, were just upset that Danielson didn't get a celebratory moment. I understand that. I also get that's just not his style.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And him going out on the stretcher, and if he thought, well, this is going to help tell a story that's going to progress AEW, then that's what I'm going to do, and hats off to him for doing that.
Yeah.
But I just kind of felt like if you don't give the fans that moment, you got to give them something that makes them say, holy shit, things are changing. I have to tune into Dynamite now to see what happens next.
That's where we absolutely agree.
And I don't feel like the finish to this, even though they put the title in a duffel bag, like that's the amount of intrigue you got from the finish. Even that is enough to be like, all right, well, what's going to happen on Dynamite? You got to give me a story, like a major story beat, to make me feel like this is a monumental sea change in AEW. I didn't feel like they hit that, and that's why my score is lower.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And that's kind of the lone issue I had with it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. I want to know what the friendos think. Let us know what your guys' star ratings are for WrestleDream in the comments below, because YouTube loves the comments. Again, if you want our full podcast length review of this, we've got the podcast channel, youtube.com/Steven Larson. Go check it out. It's there right now. On Friday on this channel, we'll be reacting to Dave Meltzer's star ratings for WrestleDream. Larson, you're going to be on the hot seat for that. Right now, our reactions to the Bad Blood star ratings, Meltzer star ratings, for those are available. I was on the hot seat there, so see how I did with that, guessing what his star ratings were. So be sure to check those out. Hit the subscribe button, the like button, and we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.